Sorry, gentlemen. Good morning. Again, this is Suraj Singh speaking from Bharat, India on this day, May 4, 2021, Tuesday. Last video that was today interrupted due to whatever reason, I don't know, signals problem again. Title is same, Civil Field Engineering and Quality, Coordination etc. I was talking about systems. Systems I was talking about, which are very important in life of everybody. And I was on feed. I was talking about quality. I was talking about all that, and this continue on. I always try and just repeat. The systems which are talking now, of course, due to computer world or due to standardizations, we have got something like ISO 9001 or Sigma and feed. Of course, feed is technical one. It's not that kind of system, but this has been made a basis for new designs, as I explained to you about my plan for a house as a citizen, as a person. What I think, what is my feed, where does it stand? That I was talking of, and that's very important one. How can we do that? That point we have to understand very well. And if I don't understand that, I make a mistake. So my plan starts when I think of to have my own house, and that's the important point. When I want to have my own house, and that's a kind of feed for me, which I say yes, it is mine, and I start thinking of that. And one time I say, okay, I own one plot, and I want to construct this, and my construction, my plan depends on size of plot, location of plot, how much money do I have, and that's a kind of feed. And what I want 1 story, 2 story, what size, what shape, where its location is, and that's a kind of feed in my mind which I cannot express. Same way I could not express quality systems. I could not express what is quality. We used to say, oh, we follow specifications, but which specifications in those days I didn't know. We had something, okay, let us follow this specification. That we could not design a specification, that was a point. Means design a specification, only those who have knowledge can do that. Or there are certain designs which are lying in books, which were long back used, but may not be applicable now, but still in books they work. So what I say now, only difference is there is customization. We can select ourselves, we can give input ourselves, we can think ourselves, we can say, we can have imaginations for ourselves, we can have free feed for ourselves, we can have feed for ourselves. And that's point we should understand. Means style has changed, everything has changed. We cannot simply stick to something, okay, we have to abide by this. No, there is no compulsion. As an engineer, as a designer, as a speaker, as a writer, I have authority on my education, I have authority to think on, I have authority to design, I have authority to accept myself, I have authority to amend that self, and I have authority according to my caliber, according to my competency. I can go a long way, and that's why I say feed and contract. Doesn't mean construction contracting. Contracting means design also. Contracting means art also. Contract means on which track I move with someone else. Contract means on which track of there is a rail, you can say, let's say railway track, it has 2 rails, it has cross sleepers, and it's a system that works together, on which very heavy train moves with voice. But these, only if these are derailed, you can say it's failure of that system, but until it works, it's system. So both people can walk on these tracks, both wheels of bogie walk or run on this track. So those wheels can't be retracted, can't be derailed until they work. Same way, it's a contractor or it's a designer or it's an owner, they all work on those tracks, and that is called a system. So we can say we should not think it differently. We have to comprehend our views into contemplation. We have to comprehend our views that come out of thinking, thoughtful exercises, and they can be collectively called templates, though unpapered, not on paper, but in we can't read them, but we have to apply them. Whatever thoughts come to my mind, it's already there in mind by whatever input, or maybe pre-birth input I cannot say, or post-birth natural input. My mind has got that. So I have to think on that, and thinking is activity generated because of that input already available in mind. So we can say feed is significantly valuable since it gives outline and details of complete design and philosophical requirements. That's very important point here is. So you can say yes, a return 16 feed document is considered significantly valuable since it gives outline and details of complete design and philosophical requirements to be considered while designing all units, trains, structures, and relevant equipment. So generally all relevant engineering theories are included. That's what FEED says. All national and international codes are included. That's a must. Full information about project objective and purpose is indicated, and that is where it lies. Important point is project objective and purpose is indicated, and we have to understand this point. What is project objective, what is purpose, and to meet these two titles, objective and purpose, all other points come into picture. To meet these objectives, to solve these objectives, a kind of, you may say, though it's not a problem, but it is also a problem in a way. We can define objective means we have vision of objective, but we can't express that objective. To that extent it is an issue. But once we describe that objective, this means we understand, and when we describe that, purpose is automatically grown up. So full information about objective and purpose must be indicated in expression form, not in one line or two lines. It can be called indicated only because it is in process of development, and gradually this indication is changed to real world, to supported world, to ratified world, to cooperative world. I am calling these terms because as movement on that indicative world goes on, this indicative world becomes it will get justified one, this becomes calculative one, this becomes judicial one, and at one stage we say engineering judicial answer comes in, and that is where we can say logic lies. That is where our calculations stand, our mind differential and integral calculus work. These all intended elements or components to be included within integrated in various areas such as offsites, process administration, others are indicated. I'm not talking of offsites of plants, but offsites of our mind. Means whenever I think of something, anything, and particularly in plant project, offsites, and you can say various areas, process areas, offsite areas, administration, other, they all start coming into certain reality of thinking, and these make a circuit of various areas but integrated project. And their indicative use, and because real use is unknown, indicative use and design requirements from engineering and technical viewpoints are included. Even when you think of your house, you start thinking one thing. Your member of other family member thinks another way. A third family member thinks that way, and these keep on varying. One mind, many minds, many solutions, many proposals. but attend. When you use that built house, maybe you don't use as it was designed, you use according to individual comfort. So you can say drawing room can be sometimes used as bedroom, sitting rooms can sometimes use as meeting room. It happens. It happens because at that time we did not know real requirement. We just contemplated something based on thinking, but it never goes waste. It works not in that way, but in some other way, of course, constructive way. So you can say indicative use and design requirements from engineering and technical viewpoints are included, and these are expressed later on by actions, by real use. So you can say feed document should provide complete history of proposed project, including site location, background in all respects, so that bidder is quite clear about proposition to maximum possible extent. And I have left it that about designs, about thoughts, because we have to decide something, and based on some technical input or some, we can say, practical indication which has to be converted to real world one, we can move on that. But we can move on again and again, and amendments, modifications, or meet further requirements would work, provided at least some part we understand. That part we understand, and that project should be structural part, which is very much independent, and no one can touch it. A structural part, if you touch a structural part to your requirement, it may be adversely affected, because a structure is a structure. A structure is life of project, and if a structure is abused or misunderstood or misconstrued or misconstrued, we defect whole project. In cases if a structure is not reliable, it doesn't have safety, it doesn't have serviceability actions, it doesn't have, you can say, long distance travel, and all other inputs it doesn't have, that structure is meaningless. A structure is not simply columns, beams, or something like that. A structure means its functionary requirements are met, its stability requirements are met, and it works. It talks to me, it talks to you, it talks to its user, it talks to its designer, it talks to everyone. That's where point lies in, and that's very indicative, very reasonable, very logical point we have to understand. Life is full of troubles, we know. Life is full of troubles, and your structure shall also be full of troubles. And we have to anticipate those troubles now when we design. Design is not simple. Design is not, you can say, theoretical based. It is real design, and only, you can say, engineering knowledge is not adequate or sufficient to compile a design, to detail out a design. Common sense, life, and those users, and also customs and cultures and technicalities, formula, or you can say modalities, and circumstantial requirements, environment, all talk together, must talk together, all are considered into contemplation of designs. It's not simple work of structural design or civil engineering design, it's work of life design, how I want to see life. There's no issue of architecture or structure here, issue of what I want to live with, how I want to live with. When I say I, it doesn't mean I alone, it means society or family. I say that's what. So field document should be comprehensive enough to communicate a message what was wanted by those people who own this project, what they thought of, what was contemplation, and this communication must be written somewhere, and direction of design must be given based on those, you can say, elaborations, those writings or those contents. It's very much issue, So feed cannot be taken for granted, and it cannot be taken for granted and should not be, because feed is feed, that is front end. I say front end design, rather I should say front end engineering design, but because engineering comes into play, that's why I say front end engineering design, though there can be pre-feed, and that shall be front end designs of design start. We have to give proper value to design, to world of design, to time of design, to requirement of design. What is really required is this. So these points we have to understand very well, and then we come out to tender documents, let us say. It's also very important. Tender document. After all, why tender? My question is, why tender? And what is tender? Why do we need it? Why is tender required? Now, let us say 10. 10 or intend. Let us intend. What is my intention? What is in my mind? Or what is to be done? I intend to do this. I say I intend to do this. Let's say tender. Means some intention is there, and that intention is put in this tender. Or you can say what is required by those people whose job is this, whose project is this, what they think about this project, what it should give, and that must be covered in this document. And that's all you can say. Intention document. You may say honor intention document. Honor. Who is honor? That person who invests money or who spends his money on this project, all money for this project, or part money for this project. There is something in mind of that honor. That honor has something in mind, but that honor is not capable enough to express in terms of engineering world. Engineering world, I say. When I say engineering world, means it's architecture also. Because engineering doesn't mean engineering discipline, or engineering means whole life. So that person whose honor, what was in mind of that person at that time when that person thought to start this project, and what is currently in mind, and how those gatherings, how those crowding informations available in mind of that honor can be expressed in terms of paperwork, and those expressions in terms of paperwork of plans or drawings or nakshas, and how this can be converted into physical shape by means of writings, which are ordinary writings, which are requirement writings, which are technical writings, which are contextual writings, and which are in fact all writings that can be related to that intention. So that is project intended, or you can say project intention documents in fact, and that intention can be cut short into tension or tendon. You can say it's a kind of tendon, you may say, just like we used in our pre-stress concrete tendons, group of certain wires working together, put together, is called tendon, and that tendon can be converted to cable. So it is intention document. It is document that contains a kind of tendon in that, and we name it tender document. Document that communicates, that gives kind of must requirement, you can say, must requirement of this project. When I say must means it cannot be compromised. No way. And that's where project works. So we have to understand first meaning of tender. It's a common word and people think only tender is related to contractor. That's fine. That's practically done. But tender is also a design. We should not say no. Tender is first design. First design once project is conceptualized and we have enough funds to invest on that, to spend on that project, and we say tender is a written application. It's a written application to be submitted to that party would be called bidder or future contractor, that you have to work, you have to give this, or you may say it's a kind of requisition. It's a kind of requisition or an order to produce and deliver something in this, to meet this requirement. That something is project, and to meet this requirement, contract documents, whatever content, drawings, you may say contract documents or contract drawings, specifications, and all procedures or would be procedures, all these combinations are put together in this tender world. Tender is not a commercial term. No, it's a process. It's a part of process. It's submitted in written form, in documents form, huge documents, volumes documents, depending on project, depending on disciplines of projects, engineering disciplines and other disciplines, commercial disciplines, or you may say life disciplines, all come together, put one place of tender. So tender is not one field of subject. It has many subjects within it. It is many descriptions within it, and each should be actually defined. It should not be imagined. Whatever you put in these big documents or tender documents, these are required to be implemented. So we have to think it in different form. Best design of documents is tender document. This is a design document. Of course, at this stage it's not design document, but it may require design by someone else, detailed working design. So tender, first you have to understand what does it mean. It's not simply just buy some documents and start doing that. Tender basis is that it takes a lot of time to write, understand, to think of all points that may harm our honor or that may harm others, that may harm contractor. We have to take into considerations every point, because no designer has got any right to harm some party, harm employer or harm contractor or harm others, all stakeholders. No one has got such a right. So tender or bid document is a solution, you can say. When big document is concerned, we call it bid. You must be happy with that. Happy not physically or mentally, but happy to that project. Because for that project you have enough money to do that. That's why you are going to take that for implementation. So we can say aforesaid teams of engineers, those engineers defined above, shall prepare all required documents necessary for facilitating invitation of EPIC bids, tenders from shortlisted parties. That's the point here. We have to analyze each and every item here. We say tender has to be produced. These documents are to be prepared. And who shall prepare? These shall be prepared by those people who are engineers, who have experience, who have understanding, who have confidence, not overconfidence, but leveled confidence, who understand their limitations. And these teams of engineers, or many teams or committee, you may say, shall prepare all required documents, technical and otherwise necessary for facilitating invitation of bids or tenders from shortlisted parties. And this bid invitation means interested parties, means those who expect, who are happy to get this job, and those people must have given input. And these engineers who are professionals, who are experts, that put whatever is to be done on this project in writing, in specific writing, in specific demands, and not essay writing but point to point elaborative writing, and that must be understood in terms of specifications. You may say specifications, all sorts of specifications, and design drawings, all sort of designs, all detailing, and contract conditions. Of course, means there will be hundreds of contract conditions depending on type of project and depending on what is convention in market and how you want to get this project done. All these requirements, all these points do come in when you think of what this project is going to do. That's the point A. So you can say these engineers are responsible to compose these documents. Of course, computer world exists now. It doesn't take much time to write. There was a time there was no computer in that case. You used to a long journey to make documents and long journey to implement that. Now that time period is shortened. It's cut off. It's shortened, and we enjoy that privilege, the privilege of reduced documents. Those documents which have come to a level where we can say a kind of standardization, a level of standardization has been reached to work on those documents, and that is really, you can say, philosophical in a way that we can say, okay, this is the standard. We have given numbers to those documents also, and with some kind of editing those standard documents, which these engineers do know can be used directly to integrate into documents, other documents of project. And if not, we can repeat those documents, of course with meeting with our requirements. We can express those requirements into these documents, and those requirements can be changed prior to agreement is done, or even at later date if both parties to contract agree. And this tender itself is a contract. In fact, this term tender is used only till contract is awarded, till parties agree, mean to say employer agrees with contractor or bidder that we are happy with you and you are happy with us. If both are happy, at that stage contract comes into play, because tender is gone. Tender doesn't remain tender. Though documents are tender documents, we call them, but these tender documents, the complete update, the complete inclusions of communications whatsoever, and complete update of drawings and whatsoever, these come to status or name, that's called contract document. Bid documents are over. Bid documents remain bid documents till contract is not agreed upon. These documents must cover basic requirements. That's what I say. These documents must cover basic requirements and design philosophies pertaining to all disciplines to enable bidder know each and every requirement precisely. Because a bidder doesn't know precise requirement, how can that person calculate cost on that? If our precise requirement is absent, This means that bid document is defective, and we have to raise questions before these documents are accepted. Bid is accepted. These documents must cover basic requirements as I have written and design philosophies pertaining to all disciplines to enable bidder know each and every requirement precisely, I mean to say completely. It should not be indicative one, it should be expressed one in proper way. That's what I say. Bid document. Now, again I say these documents must cover basic requirements and design philosophies pertaining to all disciplines to enable bidder know each and every requirement very precisely. All disciplines shall be given full feedback. All disciplines shall be given full feedback in all respects in form of project drawings. Right? All disciplines shall be given full feedback in all respects in form of project drawings. Its drawings itself is very big, voluminous. For small building even, you will find complete sets of drawing, architectural drawing. First of all, before architecture, it will site plan, location plan or layout plan as well. Then you can say both are important for purpose of identification, and if the architectural drawings, structural drawings, each services drawings, and then you can say combined drawings or other drawings, electrical, automation or mechanical, or you can say many other parts. These all drawings and documents must be clearly expressed. Must be. You can say in form of names, if standard or list, or you provide each information. So all disciplines shall be given full feedback in all specs in form of project drawings. In fact, project drawings specifically are drawings, but also all these documents which are called specifications and other reports, whatever, survey reports, soil test reports, marine survey report, and all bathymetric survey report, marine geological report, other conducted studies and observations, climatic conditions, various scheduled milestones, relevant quality standards to be adhered to, including all other essential parts of project contractual demands. All these come into actually real title of drawings, because drawings doesn't mean naksha, it means drawing of documents also. Fact is that all these documents, namely specifications, geological reports, other reports, observations, climate information, what achievements you want, what are your priorities, quality standard which you want to follow, and observations, geological report, bathymetric report, survey report, and whatever is possible. You have to understand. Samples may be included. Whatever samples. What you want to achieve? Where your milestone? When you have to operate this project. These are all important points that you can say about those people can think. And thinking is required. As I said, thinking is required, which is very, very important. Now, we say again, as paragraph states, all disciplines shall be given full feedback. All disciplines shall be given full feedback in all respects in form of project drawings, specifications, soil test reports, survey reports, marine survey report, bathymetric survey report, marine geological report, other conducted studies and observations, climatic conditions, various scheduled milestones, relevant quality standards to be adhered to, including all other essential parts of project contractual demands. These documents should be very crystal clear without involving any ambiguity. It is must. Every document must be clear and in relevance to project requirement. I don't want to include useless documents. I don't want to include useless information. Which is relevant is relevant. That's why having superficial documents also no meaning. You must have limited documents with complete information. We should not leave any unclear, or you can say loose documents, which documents are not relevant to project and unnecessary increased volume should not be used. If you don't understand this point, we cannot compile documents. So these documents should be crystal clear without involving whatever level of ambiguity. That is not going to work at all. As far as possible, details about all equipment to be permanently included on proposed project should be described within various documents. What it says, all equipment to be permanently included. Permanently means for which you are going to be paid as contractor. You have to procure these you can say equipment for permanent inclusion contract, not temporary or not proprietary. So as far as possible, details about all equipment to be permanently included on proposed project should be described within various documents. And of course, national and international codes are a must to be complied with, and this must be enlisted explicitly, that we will refer to these codes for whatever purpose. And project design parameters should be explicitly defined with allowed options, means design parameters. So which national and international codes are relevant should explicitly be included for compliance, and that compliance must be made a must. It's not simply written, it should be worked upon. Documents shall be provided in soft as well as hard copies. That's very normal. All files included within hard copies must be supported by soft copies, and all updates regularly added for circulation to relevant parties or bidders. Production of such huge volume of documents, design documents, amounts to requirement of very experienced team of professional experts from all disciplines to meet design schedule requirement as well as project construction requirements. Production of such documents, voluminous documents, can say require those professionals who can work upon this. Those professionals are engineers in general, engineers from all disciplines in general they are, to meet design schedule requirements as well as project construction requirement. Project documents may include budgetary provisions. Yes, of course, budgetary provisions are a must. How can we move without budget provisions? No one can move. So project documents may include budgetary provisions, feed provisions, because budget comes first, feed comes second time. Budgetary provisions, feed or project provisions, and also another. I can say without any slip here, project documents may include budgetary provisions, feed provisions, form of contract, special conditions or particular conditions of contract, general conditions of contract, designs, drawings, relating to all disciplines. What does it mean? Also, soil exploration reports, processing design drawings, train drawings or prospective project specifications, general specifications, bill of quantities if available or if included to support. These are points. Project documents, budgetary provision is very important one because it indicates about what was thought of in beginning. Though it has got no relevance at this stage, but it was thought of, it was contemplated. So you can say budgetary provisions is very important. Budget might have changed, but provisions were there. Then you can say feed provisions. Feed, as we discussed a lot. Without this, if you don't have feed for project, maybe you are misled. You don't have any information about that. So provisions formed for contract, special conditions or particular conditions. These days, conditions are vast. These are related to FIDIC as well, general conditions. But some owner accepts that, some owner doesn't accept that. Same with contractor standards that next day. So we can say feed provisions form of contract, special conditions or particular conditions of contract. Particular conditions or special conditions are much more heavier than general conditions. We write general conditions, whatever a standardized one, we write, but when we write particular specifications, we amend those conditions or we delete those conditions. It depends. That is special conditions you may call it, or particular conditions means for certain part of contract these conditions are, or full part of contract these conditions are in parts. So that is very important point. Means when we interpret contract, we take it from feasible studies, which may not be standard one. But some point comes in when we start thinking of, is it required, or what is maximum expense you have for money you invest. So general conditions are general and particular conditions are particular. Whatever changes we want to write, whatever we have, technical or non-technical or some other contractual conditions or some other changes of contractual data, we can say we can include this in contract form, and particular conditions are real ones that are required to be done, and general conditions in those positions in those sections may be silent. Then we can say designs. Now this internal process is say always over. So my dear, here important point is that we have to concentrate on particular conditions, because there may be differences in contemplation by promoter or owner and contractor both. They must be satisfied, they must be happy, it must be done. Then we go to, you can say, designs and drawings. Designs is very much cumbersome job. Very much cumbersome in a way that you not only are going to design structural or civil works, you are going to design other areas with certain points of consideration. So we say designs. Designs of what? Technical design. Design for this project. It's based upon designs which we call heavyweight work. It's very heavyweight work because we have to produce that on site. Designs which are very much technical, which eat your mind, which require analysis of what you want to do. Designs we buy from material laboratory. We can't go otherwise. You can say past tests, current requirements, and theory, and subjects, and common sense, and requirement, and you can say which support designs. Designs may take months. Even if there is team, it may take months because every activity requires to be recorded. Then drawings relating to all disciplines. It's equally important. Whatever you design, we have to work on that as an engineer on drawings. And when we work on drawings, we will find more and more clashes among various designs, various drawings, and we have to put one end together or one center together. So designs we have, say designs and drawings are backbone, are structure of buildings, new structure of buildings. After that, when say designs and drawings are over, related to all disciplines, soil exploration might have been done before. Those reports might be available, and if not available, we have to know it now. What is soil? Processing drawings. Train disadvantages. Trains drawings or perspective or project. Specifications, that is journal specification as well as other specification, and of course for quantification purpose, quantities of items or buildings. These are very few limited one. There are so many requirements. Presentation of demanded project should also be included in person. Many Alright, now we can't stick to one point. We have to move further to soil exploration and others. And you can say processing drawings, drawings or egos. Therefore, my dear friends, we can define in very Very briefly, what are these? Project documents may include budgetary provisions, field provisions, form of contract, special conditions or particular condition of contract, general conditions of contract, designs, drawings in relation to all disciplines, soil exploration, reports, processing drugs, designs or drawings, drains drawings or prospective project, specifications, general specifications, bill of quantities if available, etc. Then we can further go. Presentation of demanded project. Presentation of demanded project should also be included in person by client. Presentation of by client representative by holding site visits many times with all bidders so that no ambiguity is left from a clean understanding of requirements viewpoint. It should be crystal clear presentation. There should be nothing left which contractor doesn't understand. Contractor understanding must be very clear because it is that person who shall deliver to you your requirement. If that person is not clear, how can you get requirement? Point remains like that. So contractor, because the contractor from this field, that contractor understands this. Then you can say such, presentation of demanded project should also be included in person by client representative by holding site visits many times with all bidders. You can say so that no ambiguity is left from a clear understanding of requirements viewpoint, which is very important change such engineering. Such meetings provide certain opportunities to various prospective bidding parties to raise various questions and receive necessary clarifications. Such meetings provide certain opportunities to various prospective bidding parties to raise various questions and obtain or receive necessary clarifications that should open clear picture of mind. Then you can say clarifications can also be given, can be obtained, can be requested by raising various questions. Such meetings are very important in that way because such meetings provide certain opportunities to various prospective parties, bidding parties to raise questions, whatever questions are relevant, and receive free necessary clarifications. It's much better to raise silly questions even sometimes because if given provisions are unclear, you can do anything. In fact, it's much better to raise silly questions sometimes if given provisions are yet. Yes. Then you can say it is fact that some misunderstanding, some misinterpretation based incorrect assessment of bid cost for a project can cost millions of dollars as well as contribute to loss of time and overall delay on delay on project scheme delivery. There are possibilities. Let us repeat. It's a fact that some misunderstanding, misinterpretation based incorrect assessment of bid cost for a project can cost millions of dollars and as well as continue to loss of bid costing. Then you can say we have to solve this. You can say it's a fact that some misunderstanding, misinterpretation based incorrect assessment of a bid cost for a project can cost millions of dollars as well as contribute to loss of time and overall delay in project scheme delivery. Then we can say maintenance, preparation, documents, submission, though applies at end of construction. That is mechanical completion of project. Information is required to be issued at field stage for long-term evaluation purpose as well as value engineering consideration. Say maintenance. We say maintenance, preparation, documents, submission though applies at end of construction, that mechanical completion of project, but informations are required to be ensured at field stage for long term valuation purpose as well as value engineering consideration. We don't take it seriously that maintenance of building is important. Maintenance of parts of building are important. Of course, this is very important point. We can consider all these mechanical completion of project this term can be used only when work has been completed, except maintenance, except preparation or drawings, for example. Now, What we say? We say about, contractors' obligations pertinent maintenance, preparation, general engineering and procurement, which contractor shall take into account in its design of proposed facility, its maintainability criteria, philosophy and requirements of spares to be defined in proposed feed design package. What do you say? Obligations. What's the obligation of the contractor? Maintenance, preparation, preparation, general engineering and procurement. General engineering and procurement, which contractor shall take into account in its design of proposed facility, its maintainability criteria, philosophy and requirements of spares to be defined in proposed feed design package. Now, this is very important point. Important not from construction point of view, but from installation point of view, from performance point of view of trains. Means this actually means trains and vessels. When we say maintenance preparing, most of that means all equipment that you have to include within this project. Long list of equipment, very long list, and very expensive equipment, and whatever title you have, whatever processing plant furnace, and that technology related equipment, and we have to learn a lot about that, at least if not equipment, something else, and you can learn a lot on this. It won't explain sales. We can say this is an important part. You have to design machine, for example. You have to design equipment. You have to design vessel, and which must be related to processing train. One wrong vessel means train is wrong. We must understand that point. Huge amount, considerable amount, much more than foundations. So maintenance, preparation has to start much before. General engineering and procurement, that has to start. Procurement is very important here, which contract shall take into account in its design of proposed facility, because we are talking of facility, we are not talking of something else. Maintainability criteria is very important. If you don't have input from those cabin owners, your input is zero. Okay, then we can say all these points: pay a lot or charge a lot, means you don't know, but you have to depend on. And when it's part of contract, means mechanical engineering is part of contract. You don't know electrical engineering in that case, go study it. You study, will not work on that. This means multidisciplinary people are there, don't worry. They will take care of their items. You have to take care of your items. That's the point lies in. So procurement is very important activity here. Procurement and performance. Procurement takes time because of manufacture, because of price, and because of alternative. Either then all these points, I repeat: contractors' obligations pertaining maintenance, preparation, general engineering and procurement, which contractor shall take into account in its design of proposed facility, its maintainability criteria, philosophy and requirements of spares to be defined in proposed feed design package. In particular, contractors shall make permanent provisions for accessibility. Of course, permanent provisions without dismantling or other equipment, dismantling, tooling, laydown and handling of heavy plants. Permanent provisions for accessibility, that is without dismantling of other equipment, dismantling, tooling, laydown and handling of heavy parts. Make provisions for online monitoring of vital rotating machinery, and of course certainly define critical ratings. Define critical ratings for equipment, sparing requirements for equipment components and relevant parts. Sparing requirements for equipment components and relevant parts. Meanwhile, I'll cancel that. I'll put in just the fare for this. For people, all this is state them. I'll be back in 10 minutes because of my necessity. 10 minutes enough for me. That necessity is important. You can't be handled otherwise. So let us say what are now here. Contractors' obligations pertaining maintenance, preparation, general engineering and procurement, which contractor shall take into account in its design of proposed facility, its maintainability, criteria, philosophy and requirements of spares to be defined in proposed feed design package. Very important point. Means maintenance, preparation, general engineering, procurement, which contractor has to do according to design of facility, its maintainability, criteria, philosophy and requirements of spares, which all require to be defined in design package. And permanent accessibility for maintenance without dismantling, without interfering in process, and also where is lay down, handling of heavy parts. All this must be considered, must be taken into consideration. And of course, provisions for online monitoring, online vital rotating machinery, monitoring of vital rotating machinery, certainly definite critical ratings for equipment, sparing requirements for equipment, components and relevant parts. Contractor shall prepare and submit necessary required maintenance documentation. Contractor shall prepare and submit necessary required maintenance documentation as generally defined in various relevant exhibits. Integrate its maintenance requirements in its vendor selection process and obtain vendors documentation generally defined as such. What is it? It says prepare and submit necessary maintenance documents. These are maintenance for equipment, maintenance for project, maintenance for every part, every component of project. These documents are required, and these are actually, you can say, part of dossiers. Defines in various relevant exhibits and integrate its maintenance requirements in its vendor selection process and obtain vendors documentation generally defined as such. Vendors document would tell, would advise, would suggest how to maintain, complete process of maintaining, process of how to handle, process of how to operate, everything like that, which are in descriptions mode, which shall be explanatory mode, pointed mode, and all solutions and all which problems may be faced by these equipments and what shall be solutions, what shall be indicators of problems, as you find only even in small equipment we buy these days, electronic equipments, electric equipments, otherwise we buy and we find this all written data sheet or catalog or literature of that. Requirements for vendor selection. Requirements for vendor selection, pre-qualification regarding which prior to issuing a call for tender for critical items, contractor shall check vendors' capabilities such as ability to submit tenders conforming demanded quality requirements. It's very important. Pre-qualification is a term, or you can say vendor's capability. Pre-qualification means we define something that vendor should have these capabilities, this criteria actually we define. Just like we can say normative references we define, minimum requirements we define, and these can be submitted in form of pre-qualification, but that should be factual one, it cannot be imaginary one. And of course, inspections and examinations can be done at various locations of vendor, at wherever vendor works, whether it's offices, warehouses and factories and all, their design office and all that. This can be verified, this can be inspected, this can be assessed. And that requirement is very important. Paragraph is requirements for vendor selection, requalification, regarding which prior to issuing a call for tender for critical items, contractor shall check vendors' capabilities, or bidder shall check vendors' capabilities, such as ability to submit bid conforming demanded quality requirements, technical and financial long-term competency. Technical and financial long-term competency and stability demands existence and suitability of quality requirements. That is, existence and suitability of quality requirement, assurance procedures within vendor's structure, covering relevant manufacturing process, relevant quality control process of raw materials, required assembly of components, required performance and conformity tests, required internal quality audits, capability to supply after sales service for maintenance, technical assistance, supply of parts, procedures for collection of product, performance, feedback, etc. What is technical and financial long-term competency? That's very important. Without technical competency, there is no way that we should refer to that vendor. Financial long-term competency or stability, you may say its own standing in bank and trust that it establishes reputation. And stability demands existence and stability of suitability of quality requirements. Quality requirements means what system that vendor follows. Assurance procedures within vendor structure. Assurance or requirement assurance. Quality requirement assurance procedures adopted by vendor and its structure, covering relevant manufacturing process. Covering relevant manufacturing process, relevant quality control process or quality implementation process of raw materials, required assembly of components, required performance and conformity tests, required internal quality audits, capability to supply after sales service for maintenance, technical assistance, supply of parts, procedure for collection of product performance feedback. So many points are here, but these are not all, these are few but important one. Once you have technical capability, nobody can deny this. If you are not technical, you can't produce something, your process cannot move. If you don't financial long-term competency, you are not financially sound, you can't buy material. Maybe you buy on credit something else, but you must have capacity. Question is that how that capacity comes in, that's different. Means you are having credited market, you may say that you are getting your material delivered to you for use. That's another point of view. We don't care you buy it directly or you buy it to credit, it's up to you, but you get it. That is competency, material competency, technical competency, you have procedure, you have stability, and of course you are complying with certain requirements and systems, that you are an organization that can be trustworthy, that can be trusted in. And because we are having such written system, it's aligned to international standards, and that can be said that you are having quality requirement done. You can be trusted that you are able to deliver something which others lack in, and you can do that. So technical and financial long-term competency is very important, and stability demands that your quality requirement must work. Whatever procedures that you adopt according to the system, according to ISO 9000 or according to Sigma, whatever you do, you have to improve that. comply that, it changes from time to time, depending on requirements, depending on command and market depends on the requirement. But to satisfy customer in every respect, in that respect is there. So quality control must work, quality requirement must work, procedures must work, materials must work, raw material, required assembly of components, required performance and conformity tests, required internal quality audits, capability to supply after sales, something. These points very important means competency, technical competency, material competency, money competency, standard competency, requirement competency, quality competency, assurance competency, your structure competency means company structure, organizational structure, manufacturing process competency, quality control competency, quality requirement competency, quality standard competency, assembly competency, performance competency, conformity test requirements, and internal quality audits, external quality audits, after sales services capability, technical assistance, supply of parts, procedure, collection of products, performance feedback, etc., etc., etc. I can say. Now, bid evaluation. Bid evaluation. What is bid evaluation? That is important part. After all, it is bid. It's not official. It's something secret, price-wise, and it's something very much technical. It's not price-wise alone. It's technical. And technical investigation is very much important. It's very much difficult. It's very much cumbersome. And it has to be analyzed. Analysis of all documents. I'm not saying word by word, but effect by effect. Effect by effect means how does it affect this and that. That point is very much important. Effect, which is a quality everywhere. We have to make sure that quality everywhere means in these documents also. These documents based on certain design, certain views, certain performance, time, reliability, analysis, etc., etc., thinking, and that works there. And of course, it is related to certain construction projects, organizational management. That's all important. So, bid evaluation is of course very much high profile work done by employers or employers representative on EPC, employers representative. Here, contractor takes into account at bid evaluation stage following defined criteria for vendor selection and accordingly advise vendors that their bids would be evaluated on such considered basis, so that prospective vendors must include pertinent price if so affected by such consideration. Means at this stage, at bid evaluation stage, vendor selection and bids would be evaluated on such considered basis, so that these vendors must calculate price accordingly. I read, contractors shall take into account at that stage of bid evaluation following defined criteria for vendor selections and accordingly advise vendors or suppliers or service providers that their bids would be evaluated on such considered basis, so that prospective vendors must include pertinent price if so affected by such considerations. Bid price and conformity to project specifications. Bid price and conformity to project specification. Now, cost of 2 years or as specified in projected contract recommended operating spare parts for all involved machines or equipment to be installed on project. Reliability of components. Reliability of components. Identification of components non-standardized or non-tested by vendor. Bid price in conformity to project specification and cost of 2 years spare parts. Reliability of components means identification of components non-standardized or non-tested by vendor under conditions similar to project conditions. Various components should be fully reliable to meet their intended functional requirements for their efficient performance operations. Standardization is identification of non-standard components, justifications for recommendations or recommending such components, cost of spare parts. You can say standardization, identification of non-standard components, and justifications for recommending such components, cost of spare parts needed for such components, full cost of spare parts contractually acquired according to specifications. Or point comes in, as I said, components reliability is very important, compatibility is very important, standardized or non-standardized, and reliability of components very important. Identification of non-standard components, justifications of recommending such components, cost of spare parts needed for such components, full cost of spare parts contractually required according to specifications shall be included within bid correctly. And availability guarantees ratio, optimal conditions, optimal we may say availability guarantee ratio, optional conditions, optimal performances, for which evidence to be obtained from proposed prospective vendors by visiting factory, as well as various references works carried out inclusive on track record. And of course, you can say proposed vendor shall provide with all technical brochures in intended product to EPIC or EPC contractor or now we can fill in again. We can say that proposed vendor shall provide with all technical brochures of intended product to contractor along with its bid. All documents giving all performance evidences, equipment, spare parts, performance shall also be witnessed by visiting manufacturing location of proposed spare parts. Safety protection rating, verification of performance, evaluation, means for condition monitoring, recommended frequency and duration of maintenance, interventions, total annual duration, maximum duration of major intervention, you can say similar records should be confirmed from available database of past successful projects. Honesty of vendor's take record and included within submission to contract engineer so as an evidence to monitor proposed product efficiency. So we can say maintenance guarantee. After handling rating we have to talk of maintenance guarantee. Guarantees this guarantees you can say this guarantee is required for intended contractual maintenance duration for all involved machines, equipment, etc. etc. Then we may say maintenance guarantee. This guarantee is required for intended contractual maintenance duration for all involved machines, equipment, etc. Then what we do, long para here, stability of vendor, quality assurance, after sales structure, proposals for maintenance, contract rating, guaranteed reliability, contract rating, training program, that is rating, vendor maintenance, recommendations, management and monitoring, rating, first level maintenance, rating, diagnostics, return. Means what I say again, first level maintenance, diagnostic tables, preventive and on condition operations, method of intervention, identification of conformity certificates, requirements for component testing. Then we can say various provisions of all aforesaid documents from prospective vendors, records substantiate proposed vendor's claim about its reliability and consequently leads one step to customer satisfaction. Again I read this, very important one, you can read yourself if you wish. These are very complicated but must. Let us say one by one again. Handling, maintenance guarantees, stability, etc. And before handling you can say third-party agencies. Third-party agencies usually publish correct effectiveness of these vendors. Here we are. Yes, right. स्पार्क की आवाज आई है। हुआ स्पार्क देखते हैं। फट की आवाज आई है। फट की आवाज आई थी अभी। क्या करें? होता रहता है, रुक होता है इतना कुछ। लाइट गई है, क्या होगा देखता हूँ। लाइट गई है, फट की आवाज आई है। रातू तो लेट गई थी ना। रातू तो लेट गई थी। Problem. Anyway, let us continue. Some problem somewhere, everywhere. Some problem everywhere. Well, so we can say continue our work with some problems always there. Problem of life, problem of this, problem that. Nothing is perfect here. Anyway, so we can say, sorry gentlemen, there's some disturbance of light. Can say third-party agencies usually publish third-party agencies usually publish correct effectiveness of these vendors' product and services in parts or in totality at regular intervals or as required for some special assignment. Handling rating similar record should be confirmed from available database. Similar record should be confirmed from available database of past successful projects on history of vendor track records and included with submission to contract engineer as an evidence to monitor proposed product efficiency. Third-party agencies usually publish correct effectiveness of these vendors product and services in parts or in totality at regular intervals or is required for some special assignment. Now, maintenance guarantees. This guarantee is required for intended contractual maintenance duration for all involved machines, equipment, etc. Stability of vendor, quality assurance, after sales structure, proposals for maintenance contract rating, guaranteed reliability contract rating, training program rating, vendor maintenance recommendations, management and monitoring, first level maintenance rating, diagnostic tables, ratings and preventive and on condition operations ratings, method of intervention ratings, identification of conformity certificates, requirements for components testing, various provisions of all aforesaid documents from prospective vendors, records substantiate proposed vendors' claim about reliability and consequences lead one step to customer satisfaction. Various provisions of all aforesaid documents, various provisions of all aforesaid documents from prospective vendors, records substantiate proposed vendor's claim about its reliability and consequently leads one step to customer satisfaction. Vendor's obligations to be enforced by contractor. Vendor's obligations to be enforced by contractor. Contractor shall generally carry out various procurement steps, and contractor shall generally carry out various procurement steps required to have competent vendors. Contractors shall generally carry out various procurement steps required to have competent vendors who meet maintenance bid specifications, requirements for intended supply of equipment, and consistent documentation. Vendors' obligations to be enforced by contractor. What vendors say they require, contractor has to enforce that. Therefore, contractor shall generally carry out various procurement steps required to have competent vendors who meet maintenance bid specifications requirements for intended supply of equipment and consistent documentation. Contractor shall prepare and include a vendor's maintenance requirement. Contractor shall prepare and include a vendor's maintenance requirement. Specification in call for tenders and purchase orders in line with given client's guidance and submit for client's approval. Contractor shall obtain check, approve and issue vendors' maintenance documentation as maintenance dossier and prepare their respective mechanical catalog. Contractor shall obtain, check, approve and issue vendor maintenance documentation as maintenance dossier and prepare their respective mechanical catalog. Now, EPIC contractor shall comply with all given manufacturer's instructions. EPIC contractor shall comply with all given manufacturer's instruction in respect of each and every equipment or each product, and all evidences in this respect shall have to be provided as quality requirement, assurance, documentation to client engineer for approval and permanent recording, EPIC contractor shall comply with all given manufacturer's instructions in respect of each and every equipment or each product, and all evidences in this respect shall have to be provided as quality requirement assurance documentation to client engineer for approval and permanent recording. Expected vendors maintenance dossiers. Expected vendors maintenance dossiers shall generally include but not be limited to as following guidance is in essence only. Equipment data, equipment descriptions, equipment data, equipment descriptions, equipment inventory, technical data sheets, reference number, serial number, tag number, purchase order number, connection parameters, piping, electrical instruments, software documentation both in electronic format and as hard copy, operating documentation, operating procedures, online monitoring, first level maintenance by operators, lubrication schedule. I repeat. Expected vendors maintenance dossiers shall generally include but not be limited to as following guidance is in essence only. Equipment data, equipment description, equipment inventory, technical data sheets, reference numbers, serial number, that is equipment inventory it is, technical data sheet, then reference number is serial number which is data sheet, this reference number, serial number, tag number, purchase order number, connection parameters, piping, electrical instrumentation, software documentation both in electronic format and as a hard copy, operating documents, operating procedures, online monitoring, first level maintenance by operators, lubrication schedule. All these documents and also and also some other additionally required one shall be approved by client engineer for implementation on its performance monitoring. Maintenance documentation, what type of equipment, scheduled inspections or interventions, preventive on failure and overhaul maintenance procedures, including description of personal, tools, spare parts, drawings, required trouble, shooting charts, list of consumables, list of special tools, spare parts list, SPL, under format attached or equivalent, and drawing general arrangement, section drawing, schematic and wiring drawings, control loop drawings, logic diagrams, cause and effect sheets. All these documents shall be properly numbered and recorded by EPIC Document Center. Let us repeat this very important one because this is related to what it says is in this case vendors obligations to be enforced by contractor, what vendors required, and that is these are various issues related to equipment, the requirements, what actually all says. It's very important point in this case, and one points I'll speak only, not all. Says in this case, it says contractor shall generally carry out, I just read, contractor shall generally carry out various procurement steps required to have Competent vendors who meet maintenance bid specifications requirements for intended supply of equipment and consistent documentation. Contractors shall prepare and include a vendor's maintenance requirements specification and call for tenders and purchase orders in line with given client guidance and submit for client's approval. Contractors shall obtain, check, approve, and issue vendors' maintenance documentation as maintenance dossiers and prepare their respective mechanical catalog. EPIC contractors shall comply with all given manufacturer's instructions in respect of each and every equipment of each product, and all evidences in this respect shall have to be provided as quality requirement assurance, the COB documentation to client engineer for approval and permanent recording. Expected vendors' maintenance dossiers shall generally include but not be limited to following guidance in its essence only: equipment data, equipment descriptions, equipment inventory, technical data sheets, reference numbers, serial number, tag number, purchase order number, connection parameters, piping, electrical instruments, software documentation both in electronic format and as hard copy, operating documentation, operating procedures, online monitoring, first level maintenance by operators, election schedule. All these documents, also some other additionally required one, shall be approved by client engineer for implementation on its performance monitoring. Maintenance documentation for type of equipments, schedule inspection or intervention, preventive on failure on, and overhaul maintenance procedures, including description of personal tools, special parts, spare parts drawings required, troubleshooting charts, list of consumables, list of special tools, spare parts list, spare under format attached or equivalent, drawing, general arrangement drawings, section drawings, schematic drawings and wiring drawings, control loop diagrams, logic diagrams, cause and effect sheets. All these documents shall be properly numbered and recorded by EPCI Document Center. The third important part here is then on a technical proposal, which is you can say foundation of this type of contract. Before this, I would like to say construction control, which is also I actually wanted to discuss this, but there's some obstruction coming in. We'll take care of this as well, no problem. So first let's go to technical proposal, which is very important from each and every point of view. Technical proposal is, very, very important for contractors, for tenders, and for project engineers, and for honor for all. Without having any competent technical proposal, nothing can be relied upon. To be very frank, it is same, nothing can be relied upon, I should say, rather than doing something else. Now, unavoidable in this age, you say it's not avoidable, it's unavoidable in this age of building, tendering, particularly on various industrial projects of international quality requirement nature, that all bids are submitted in two parts, either together or separately, depending upon defined client requirement, and technical proposal is that one which is lead document. Lead document, commercial bid can also be submitted with that, but even if it is submitted, it got no meaning until technical proposal is finalized. And if technical proposal is not finalized in favor of first one, even though commercially you are suitable, but technically if you are not suitable, you are not eligible for commercial bid. This is entire meaning of that. This means technical bid, technical proposal is dominating one, dictating one, because it tells competency, it tells about capability, it tells about buildability, it tells about designability, it tells about maturity, it tells about what you can do, it tells about can you understand this project, did you understand this project, if you understand this project, how you are going to solve this project, and if you know how to solve this project or these problems, you can implement them. Are you able to procure? Are you able to do this? All these points come into that. Planning through, planning documents, through safety documents, through quality documents, all those. And what sort of human resources do you employ? Do you have? All these points must be part of technical bid. There is no limited definition for this. This is vast definition. Technical bids has got no limits. It depends upon what size of project is, how does it work, and that is important point we have to consider here. So it's unavoidable in this age of bidding, tendering, particularly on various industrial projects. It is unavoidable in this age of bidding, tendering, particularly on various industrial projects of international quality requirement, assurance nature that all bids are submitted in two parts, either together or separately, depending upon defined client requirement. Technical bid is always considered a lead submission package on commercial to fully and comprehensively assure whether or not involved project bidder got professional capability to execute and prosecute intended requirements of project smoothly and efficiently, keeping within limits of constraints such items such as time, quality and cost. In case submitted technical bid is rejected, there should be no further need or requirement for involved bidder to propose commercial part of project bid, or if both bids are submitted together, incompetency on technical bid shall stop further consideration. Technical bid is a voluminous document, and if submitted directly through software or directly through soft copies, it's memory document, big memory. Technical bid is a voluminous document containing complete details of bidders' intentions to carry out proposed project, execution from its commencement to its completion stage, describing in details ways, procedures and methods for each and every part of intended proposed project, defining how demanded requirements shall be handled and whether or not bidder is adequately resourceful, technically capable and further scrutinizing all other aspects expected by client and engineer. Bid is evaluated. Technical bid. Technical bid should contain fully descriptive and completely integrated infrastructure of involved bidder. Fully descriptive and completely integrated infrastructure of involved bidder in all respects about design and execution, philosophies, execution plan, machinery and manpower or workforce proposal. Alternative proposal, if so necessary, contemplated by bidder, full design criteria, materials proposed from its authentic source, acceptability of third-party certification, deviation from defined contract and its controls, complete safety program details and risk analysis, hazard study, safety records, safety plans, proposed evidence of past safety capability, records various well-defined formats to be employed for using during whole duration of project cycle, including post mechanical construction maintenance. It also requires descriptive proposals from its quality assurance and quality control section, providing all necessary formats and detailed methods of quality control, maintenance, including inspection and test plans, checklist, and all quality documentation procedures. Execution or project construction method statements. Execution or project construction method statements as well as provisions respecting proposed independent materials testing laboratory. All procedures pertaining company documentations shall be included involving internal documents metrics used and ensuring that documents traceability is smooth all times to come. Engineering procedures including procurement shall also be included within this proposed, giving complete feedback on proposed designing system, software to be used, designer's potential complete requirement of job related materials, job temporary facility to accommodate proposed manpower, etc. Since required technical proposal is based on bid provided feed documents by client company or client company appointed feed contractor, whatever contents of required technical proposal be presented should be based on necessary technical directives, compliance included within bid feed. Bidders base form proposal. Bidders base form proposal should not at all deviate from bid feed requirements. Means original bid should not deviate from feed requirement. Competent bidder is required to endorse submitted technical bid stating that given bid is completely based upon provided feed, meeting all requirements unconditionally without any qualifications, without giving any qualifications or involving any qualifications. Its content of certification should be in accordance to client format provided. there may be an alternative proposal. There may be an alternative proposal in addition to bidder's firm proposal, which may satisfy all requirements of feed in addition to making contributing cost and time saving to promoting client according to defined value engineering consideration that owner client could accept if all proposals comply with provisions included within feed. Technical proposal is very comprehensive presentation, should be very comprehensive presentation, content wise giving all information of proposed contract execution involving all aspects from design to its implementation, performance and handover stage. No room is allowed. No room is allowed for any commercial reflection within technical submission. In fact, by making evaluation of this document's content, thorough consistency and capacity of bidder is measured from all aspects. In fact, by making evaluation of this document's contents, thorough consistency and capacity of bidder is measured from all aspects. Many rounds of technical submission, including technical meetings, are conducted to scrutinize submission of all included chapters. These chapters should be simple in presentation style to allow full clear communications from bidder to contract engineer or client to facilitate an easy understanding pertaining to proposed project execution. All sources of procurable materials, equipment and all other items, components to be used for all permanent inclusions on project should be enlisted in a scheduled manner in line with all feed requirements. Proposed works scheduled to meet bid defined milestones. Proposed works scheduled to meet bid defined milestones should be explicitly described, convincing everyone concerned, stakeholders on client company, and that bidder approach is feasible to achieve indicated or defined targets in practical terms, so that commissioning of facility shall move smooth without causing any problems. All workforce and staffing levels as well as management to supervise indirect bid project should be clearly defined, including required CVs of all the personnel. These labels should meet bid defined criteria according to given feed as well as bid expected professional competencies. Design procedures should be clearly defined in a precise manner, including giving all designations of information technology to be utilized for bid project. In brief, all other proposals for bid proposed facilities for all temporary works as well as for all permanent works should be included explicitly. It is quite a long format. But should be precise and clear, point to point, involving all significant considerations points. Bid client is never interested in voluminous documentation for show of purpose, but a precise content giving all true and relevant information should always be welcome. It should be remembered that all these proposal documents shall be required for bid actual demonstration, proving required consistency as well as competency and capacity reflected on bid proposals. It's better not to propose something which is not practiced by bidder. Otherwise, demonstration could detract bidder. Very important point. It's better not to propose something which is not practiced by bidder. Otherwise, demonstration could detract bidder. Many cases have been noticed when, after submission of proposal, comments are received from client company engineer asking for requiring many clarifications, which are difficult to reply positively and satisfactorily. Better be straightforward for bid submission. Quality requirement assurance as well as execution statements constitute very important and significant role for providing value to project technical bid. For which due time and devotion must be given by proposed bidder. Relevant expert should be engaged for required detailed inclusions of all necessary information, inclusion within bid documents for engineer company client consideration review. Untoward information should be preferably avoided. Once project bidder is shortlisted, either by client or company, engineer or by project establishment of project, bid competency call for its commercial presentation should be given to bidder, failing which there is no use in case submitted bid fails to meet project feed requirements. we can say here, why does it go down? We're just talking about technical proposal, and before that we're talking about vendors' obligations to be enforced by contractor, and before that we talked about bid evaluation, and we talked about documents. This file which we have been discussing, we talked about abbreviations first. There is project design, contract award, miscellaneous. Abbreviations which we went through, and now these, you can say, with evaluation we started, which is a very important one. Before this we had here, you can say, feed documents, and you can say we see it. It doesn't go further. It goes like this, I think. Like that. Okay. We had project tender documents, then we had bid evaluation, we had then, you can say, all these we discussed carry certain meaning, important meaning for selection of people, selection of contractors, selection of parties which have real weight in life. You have to understand that very well. And also will construction controls here, which will look into mobilization, etc., materials, and then you can say manpower, workforce, equipment, how we do that. These controls we have to discuss too. Just like, for example, here construction and controls are very interrelated sections, we can say. Construction and controls are very interrelated sections for successful completion of project. Design may be considered oversafe or optimum, but real construction involves actual expenses, contract time, and reputation. It should be motto of an organization to apply good controls on project to keep on line, on schedule, planning, an actual part of controls. Control includes progress, cost. Control includes progress, cost escalation, time, budget, quality assurance, engineering and safety, risk recovering, and delays recovering. These are all integrated divisions which should move in unison to achieve project delivery target. A well-designed project could be jeopardized during construction phase. From budgetary viewpoint, should it not be given due controls, application properly. Schedules programming, it's a very important one. It's not easy. Programming schedules indicating by NAT bars or by CPM or by PERT. Various graphic representations respecting overall and detailed plans for time, activities, milestones, workforce, loadings, requirement machinery, loadings, requirement cost flow, with all other activities, requirements, and monitoring reviews of all these controls during whole currency of project, from real progress lost time recoveries, as well as look ahead projections. Scheduling documents are produced involving all sections working for project, and reports all interactively considered by departments, all departments. Planning engineers or project control engineers work for such activities dedicatedly on on project reporting from day to day basis, time to time basis. Planning activities commence from day one of commencement to final completion, while documents are produced from level 1 to maybe level 5 depending on project or contract specification requirement. Generally, Primavera RMS project softwares are used for producing professional documentation for planning purpose. During tender stage, also programming documents giving complete details and milestones, manpower, machines, cash flow, etc. are provided for inclusion with technical proposals, which is considered as one of capabilities, competency of proposals. In case details do not give full information about proposed methods of execution for which it forms a part, proposal may be liable to rejection. Mobilization is a step which is a very important one. Let us talk of this if we can have 5-10 minutes here. So it's long one. But let us see. Mobilization, how to mobilize new site or work. The new site for you maybe it's old one for others, but you have to start with, and that's an important point to consider. How to do it? That's point we have to see. You can see very first step to get into stage of physical establishment for construction, and that is mobilization. Establishment for construction. You have to make some basis on site for construction works to carry on. You have to take site, and all transfer stations are established using available satellite records. Surveying section commences its work for establishment objectives. Approvals are obtained from authorities concerning from engineering or client. Applications are made for obtaining record drawings from statutory service authorities, if so required. Applications are also made to operating authorities for issue of all record drawings, if so required, for permits. Permit to work is required prior to commencement of an excavation in hot and cold work areas. No excavation is allowed in projects until these are permitted. For application of work to start, for to start permit, documentation is carried out giving details about applied work, official award letter, availability of safety officers, full-time supervisors, method statements, etc. And then application is considered for sanction. There's so many points we have to consider this regard, means we'll talk of later on, because the mobilization is very important. You cannot simply say well done that. So much is to be done in that. We'll take care of that now. I think time is essence here. Already 2:42. Yeah, you have to cover something more. Means I'm just going to talk to you about this. It's just written there, and we'll speak about that. But important point is what we understand is construction control sense. Construction is such a field where everybody has different approach. Every engineer has different approach. what I think, maybe you don't think. My experience may be different than yours. Your experience may be much more important than mine. Both cases are there. And there are people who are planners. There are people who are planners, and they plan their way, maybe having enough experience, adequate experience, or they may not be having any experience. But because they know how to operate charts, how to operate this program, software, MS Project or Primavera or something else, they think they can plan. That's the conception in them. Young planners, I've seen 2 young planners. I've never worked on sites, I've never worked on projects, but they say, we know, we can construct. Question arises, pragmatism, application of pragmatism. And what is pragmatism? Pragmatism means you must have understandable experience, proven experience, and you must utilize that experience for further activities. Experience, you or whatever, it must be wrong or good. It must be good or bad. It may be applicable, not applicable. But proven experience can't be wrong. You have delivered projects, you must have thorough confidence, you must have full confidence. You are a person who has done it. So you are author of your experience. You can do now authorship work. You are going to do something. Whatever you write becomes some incompetent writing because it's based on experience. It's like a declaration. I have done this. I can write this. If I write a method statement, this is my method statement must prove that this way how to work. And if it's work way, it's a proven way. You can say it comes by virtue of experience. It comes by virtue of different application in life. And when you do that, you are forced to think. All this background of your experience will make you think. It will give many, many options to do something, but which one is best, you have to search yourself. That's why I say experience in construction is very much important. Experience in construction, it is an open hand experience. There's no cover, no secrecy, no denial mode. You are means you are. You are capable means you are capable. No way you are not capable. That point we have to understand here very well. You are capable means capable. No can say, nobody can say no. Because you have done it. You have done it, and not necessary that other job be same. It can be different. But activities probably would be same. Means you have done it. That God must be in hands. That I can have full vision of your project or this project, and I shall deliver it in a competent, procedurally defined ways, systematic defined ways. That point is required in this field. Very much important point. If we can understand that my mind thinks about this project, I can see whole stages of this project without even being present. That's called common public competency. Yes, that's what I understand, very important point. We can't remain silent. It's programming, it's scheduling, it's competency. It tells what company can do. When I program something, I write something, I write activities, I write loadings, means we know what we have to do. It can't be gamble. It should be online, it should be on target. We have to fix milestones. We have to go through levels, various levels of programming, various levels of scheduling, and those must describe. It's not color or bar charts we have to show. It's not color something else. We have to show time. We have to show what we are going to do. And that's what importance is. We have to understand building. We have to understand structure. We have to understand time. We can organize. We have to understand temperature. We have to understand everything. Means when we understand everything, why don't we show that? That's very important point. I can't accept everything. I can accept everything only when it is feasible. It is really feasible. So when we say we program something, it's very important point for everybody. It's not layman, it's an educated program. It's program to be done by engineers. And engineer means engineer. It's qualified engineer, must have experience. It's not that you excavate in one day and fill in one day. Can't be like engineer. It's happens. You have to see track. You have maybe if you want to be a good programmer, you have to go to some site and observe, or you must have come out of site yourself for a couple of years, and then you start planning, scaling. Don't rush up on software, because software will not help you until you experience. If you have experience, you can get better information about what you have to do. Because I met many young planners who don't understand backfill, and they don't understand excavation, they don't understand backfill, and they don't understand how shuttering is done, they don't understand how cutting and bending of bars is done. And they say, I can program it. I don't understand how they can program it. Maybe God knows how they do it, but I can't understand. And they are so young, so energetic, so hungry for packages. They want everything, and such people, they actually should learn first. I'm not saying them not to learn. They have a opportunity to learn. Of course, it's true that maybe they know software much better than I can know, because they are born for that software. They can't do. We were one time having no software in our country, no computers in our country, but we survived in that time also. As equally we survive now. We survived by surviving. So point is that you have to understand what we have to do, and if you don't understand what we have to do, we'll waste our time, waste everything. Planning is something you have to do. Planning is not baby's job. Planning is not budding job. Planning is job of experienced. Maybe you can't find colorful charts by those people, but you can find milestones. You can get information from them. That information, bars that you receive from them, may be suitably fit in your Primavera or Microsoft. I tried many dislocated bars, many such work which are not in line to acceptance criteria, and they plan accordingly. Sometimes these people don't understand what is GGBS, what is PFA. They don't understand sometimes what is design backfill material design. They don't understand why to add dune sand into fill material. There are so many technical reasons. They don't understand what is soil. They never go through soil report, because I think they are not qualified that way. They actually software comes into progress sometimes because just knowing software is not enough. Yes, software is a good one, it has to be understood. But you can't relate software to actual work. You can't relate. Work is work, it takes time, it has its own way. Software can help you understand. That to that level it's okay, software is fine. But activities that in construction we do, we are not IT people. We have to do everything sitting in office. On sites, I have experience even when I was project manager. I used to stay myself on site for more than half a day, and remaining time of 2 3 hours or 5 hours we were asked to prepare on that. You must have told someone that this person has gone or not gone. So that point is very, you can say, these books that give us information are very important one. These books doesn't mean they're published books. This not mean the authors write this. It's not professors write this. These books are actually documents. Documents are important for our understanding. Only experienced people can write this. Only. Unfortunately, it's not writing. That's my reason. That's the reason I'm trying to push. I'm trying to give something to society, professional society. But I'm not finding any happiness here because people are not interested. No problem to me. It's their choice or interested, not interested, but my job I'm doing. I want to keep a foundation of construction writing. Maybe who knows how many days I have to live. But work shall live. That's important. Good work or bad work, whatever it is. I'm not doing for interested anything in royalty or something. I'm not going to sell anything on this. It's just service. I want to, because quality is to be improved, and if quality is to be improved, you have to do every work. You have to do precautionary measures. You have to fly with, will do everything else done through quality. I can't say what is right, what is wrong, but it's true. It's fact. It's fact that we run away from responsibility. We want to do everything in fast mode, and construction is not fast mode. Construction is done with complete. You be fast, but you have to think. You have to keep yourself patient when you have lost the work. course, it's not that alone, but we can say that whatever we do, it should be professionally correct, and it should speak for it. It's not simply professionally correct, it should speak for that. It must work for that. And these statements which I am giving you, these are based on experience, these are based on real professional life. Yes, there may be some certain changes, there may be technological changes, there may be software changes, there may be something, but activities won't change. Excavation won't change. Yes, it was machine excavation, it is still machine excavation. Dewatering was employed, still is employed, and concrete is same, pumping is same, temperature is same. We have to understand these points. It's same. So we should be having approach like that, and that approach is very, very interesting. We have to understand ourselves in that domain, and I think we should move further, and I should close this at this moment. I'll take up again these controls and other points next time. COVID is moving very fast. We have to be careful. COVID-19 has become very active in our country, and also in other countries it's moving. People are not declaring, but it's moving, and it's shown its full strength. So we have to be protective, and of course we have to digest it now. Our system is very bad, we know, but something must be better than something else. We have to think of this, we have to understand this, and at the same time we have to many of us have time now. We can make videos, or we can write something, not wasting time here and there. I am happy to get sunlight in the day just for 1 hour. It's good one for me because I am getting ultraviolet index up to 10 or 9, though it's not good for skin, but if you are covered with, it's an injection for everybody. I think it's good for health, and it's good for resistance, extending resistance to COVID-19, ultraviolet rays, and that's my point of view. Now it's time, more than 3 hours gone in this video, and second one was half an hour. I think I should now put it off in this moment. It's time to close, and doing that.